We'll now hear on Radio 3 the last in a series of programmes on the life and career of Luciano Pavarotti. Here's Sean Rafferty.
Luciano Pavarotti's legacy is in his recordings. We've had so many this week, right from the beginning of his career. His voice, unmistakable and thrilling. That force of nature, as Sir Edward Downes called it. His appeal was universal. World fame then, of course, secured when that famous triumvirate of himself, Plácido Domingo and José Carreras came together for the first of the Three Tenor concerts. Baths of Caracalla, Rome, 1990, and for a very good cause.
We are finishing this football festival, the 7th of July with Plácido and José, and I think we go there to enjoy ourselves. We have never done something together in name of music, and even this time is not made in the name of the music, because we have not to prove who we are. We are what we are. It's not a competition that we are going there to do. It's really an enjoyment, a celebration of a sport that all three of us did like very much, and we still like, of course. For me, make me say, okay, let's try to do, even if it's risky, let's see what it is.
Well, what the Three Tenors created was, it turned out, a phenomenon. As José Carreras said, the first raised money for his Leukemia Foundation, and Plácido Domingo reminded us that their joint passion for the beautiful game was the other reason.
It became kind of a traditional concert that, because of our love for football, the three, we have a different team. Luciano used to be a fan of Juventus. José, his team is Barcelona, and mine is Real Madrid. So in many of our conversations, they were involved, of course, besides preparing our repertoire, preparing our concerts. It was a lot of talking about football.
The very first concert, we did it for a good cause, but we never imagined what happens afterwards, and then we have been 4 years without doing anything, and then again for the World Cup soccer or football, the three of us, Luciano as well, we have been football fans, and that gave us an extra, an extra reason for doing it,
José Carreras, before him Plácido Domingo and Luciano Pavarotti on their shared passion for football. The Three Tenors concerts, well, there's never been anything quite like it, oft imitated, but nothing, I suspect, will have the power and charisma that those three created.
A decent-sized hall. It was a lot of fun in many ways, but also I have to say, because the kind of music that we sing is pretty exacting, and it takes all of your forces to do it right. So you're constantly concentrating on what you're doing. But occasionally you'll have that moment where you can just sit still and listen to the other folks. And I have to say, I'm such a fan of both of them and admired them both just to the hilt. Luciano was always somebody who really gave you a lot when you were singing with him, and that is important. I remember I was walking one day in the garden of Rosa Poncell with her in Baltimore many years ago, and I asked her, well, what was it like to sing with Caruso? What was it about him that was so unbelievable other than the voice? And she said, it's because he gave you so much on stage. And I felt that same thing about Luciano. And, of course, he dealt so much with a text, which, really warmed my heart, because I certainly believe in that, too.
Pavarotti was a great storyteller. The subtleties of his voice not best appreciated in a vast arena, though he did reach millions. Marilyn Horne loved him best in the intimacy of the recital.
He certainly reached a segment of the population that other opera singers could not. I loved the fact that many years ago when he was singing recitals, say, in Carnegie Hall, not in big arenas, I felt that was a loss when he stopped doing that, because he was singing, wonderful recital repertory, like I think he sang the Petrarca songs of Liszt and many other things, and I loved that, and I think that was a shame that we lost that.
Can we, I wonder, separate Pavarotti the man from Pavarotti the singer? He had a strong personality as well as a fabulous voice. Fame did affect him. What of his unreliability in later life, for instance? The view of some of his colleagues now. Renata Scotto, Richard Bonning, José Carreras And first of all, Placido Domingo.
The personality of Luciano, it was partly his own and partly created by the publicity. You know, I think the idea of the handkerchief, etc., it was created just to make something that was out of the normal. You know, I think he has this kind of, let's say it, no deep, no very serious approach of what it was his personality, except when you will talk to him about important things, then he became somebody else. You know, he was somebody very, very intelligent, extremely intelligent. And, of course, you can talk with him about many, many other things. But what I say, they try to create this character, which, in a way, it was not necessary. I mean, his voice will really appeal to the people. But I think at that moment it created a lot of interest in people.
Luciano had a great personality, but also a great determination in his career. In the beginning, often we sang many performances of Lucia and Rigoletto, Lucia, Rigoletto, Lucia, Rigoletto, always those two operas together. But often he would cancel because he wasn't absolutely sure that he would give the best performance. And it was the clarity that he got from everything he was doing and determination to become a numero uno, sometimes probably hurt his career as a classical opera singer. And I felt that he shouldn't have done that. You can't do well everything if you do too many things. And sometime in late part of his career, he wanted to do too much, everything. But he enjoyed it, and he wanted to do that for his own purpose. And why not?
The publicity machine took over with him, and to me that was a very bad thing. I mean, he wanted it, and he went that way. He went another way. He could have been a great artist and a great singer all his life, instead of starting out so wonderfully and then ending up as more or less as a pop singer. To me, it was a great tragedy.
Luciano Pavarotti did a stage career which has been absolutely amazing, incredible, singing the most difficult tenor roles, from Nemorino to Otello, from Enrico to Andrea Chenier, from Rodolfo to Riccardo in Ballo in Maschera. He had an amazing, extraordinary opera career in the major opera houses in the world. And then if he allowed himself to go into a different field, a more popular kind of music, doing that, he was following the legacy of the greatest tenors from the past, like Caruso or Gigli or McCormack, etc. I mean, this is what these extraordinary tenors did as well. So following this legacy, Luciano did nothing else but trying to attract more people to the classic world.
Luciano sang while his physique deteriorated. It's astonishing that his voice actually did not. There were one or two things at the very, very end, but he could still, right within a couple of years of his death, he sang with a bloom and an understanding which actually had not been there earlier.
One of the very last performances that Pavarotti gave us was as Verdi's Otello. He wasn't well when he recorded this. It was done over 4 live performances, concert performances, with Sir George Solti in Chicago, Kiri Te Kanua as Desdemona. Pavarotti had to have prompters on stage. He had to inhale to keep his voice liquid. To top that, he admitted it wasn't a role he would have tackled earlier.
In Otello, first of all, it's not romantic. And we are talking already about a very big difference in the character. My voice is a typical romantic voice. I will have the tendency to smile when I am happy. And I am happy a couple of times in that opera, not much. But still, even that, in this time in which you are happy at the beginning, is not romantic. Is a man of war, is a man who conquered the girl because she fell in love with his army. The voice goes with that, because if I can do romantic, if I can do this raw romantic, I will certainly succeed. It's not impossible to be sung.
Early days, to me, the voice it had a youthful sound, it had a ping to it, it had a brilliance to it. He had innate musicianship, and things happened almost by nature. It didn't sound as if he was studied or trying, it just happened. And this was very, very wonderful to work with. One could guide him in this way or that way, and he would listen. Later on, when he tried to sing things like Otello and Pagliacci, to me he was trying to fatten the voice. He was trying to prove something. And I think that was a great mistake, because I don't think he was ever an Otello by the wildest imagination. I mean, I said that because I heard Del Monaco and Vinay and people who could really sing Otello. But it was stupid of him. He wanted to be more. He wasn't satisfied with what he had.
This is nothing to do with Luciano himself. It's to do with nature. They gave him this most wonderful organ, but it was not the organ for Otello. Nor indeed, in my view, was it the organ for Radames in Aida. You must remember, when Verdi wrote these operas, he wrote for specific singers, and consequently, it's very rare to find a singer of any role, soprano, tenor, or whatever, who can sing with equal effect all the tenor roles or whatever it is that Verdi wrote. And the danger is that we all want, when we've got a great singer like Luciano, everybody would want to hear him sing in all the big famous operas. And it doesn't work, because nature didn't build him like that. But for the roles that he sang, it was absolutely...
Because we do have really the amount of recordings, of complete operas, of albums, of everything. It was unbelievable. I mean, today, the singers today, they will be lucky in a different way. I think that they will be able to have, like the 80% of their careers, it will be live DVDs from the theaters. But we were really very lucky to be able to record the most wonderful operas, complete operas, to have the selection of the best possible cast. The voice of Luciano, it really shines and blooms the better in all the really lyrical parts. When I hear him, such a fabulous performances of Puritani. And of course, of the most popular ones, I think La Bohème was one of his really signature roles also. And the Mask Ball, Verdi's Mask Ball.
I think he has been one of the greatest operatic voices of all time. I think his approach to music was always very exciting and also very sincere, a reflection of his charismatic personality. And I can tell you, because I know well, he was a great professional. I think together with the quality of his voice and his personality, I think that we all remember Luciano as one of the greatest singers ever. And also the people that we had the opportunity, the privilege to get closer to him, we will remember him as a great guy.
Jose Carreras, with the perfect few words on the late and undeniably great Luciano Pavarotti, whose legacy is secure in all those wonderful recordings he's left, and of course as the large and pivotal force in those Three Tenors concerts. Plenty of friendly rivalry between himself, Jose Carreras and Plácido Domingo, but admiration and, as Plácido admits, sheer enjoyment of singing together.
I think the fact of the medleys, it was a fantastic possibility. Then one was doing a phrase and said, "Oh God, that was beautiful." Now, I try to do also a beautiful phrase. And then the other one will go, "Okay, anything you can do, I can do better, or perhaps I can do better." And it was kind of everybody putting our best, to please the public.
We all wanted to show the best of ourselves. We all wanted to have the best concert of our lives every time we sang together. Of course, but I think this is not only valid, but this is the way it should be. On top, there is something very important. For me, to be on stage with two of the greatest operatic voices of the history of opera, it was a treat. It was an extraordinary experience, and I think I can say the same for my two colleagues.
And that ends this series of programmes on the life of Luciano Pavarotti. The presenter was Sean Rafferty,